puzzle games have always been a favorite of mine, especially ones you can take on the go. Nowadays we have our phone, but back in the day I used my Nintendo Game Boy to enjoy these ones, and I just got done playing a game called Warlock'S Tower that took me back to those Game Boy puzzle days. But is this puzzle solving sorcery truly sweet, or is this tower just filled to the brim with failure? Warlock'S Tower is a puzzle game that was originally released in 2017, and now is making its way over to consoles, the Xbox One, PlayStation 4, Nintendo Switch, and Vita, and it's easily one of my favorite puzzle games that I've played in recent memory. The game's premise is rather simple, usually some of the best puzzle games are, and it uses its mechanics and gimmicks throughout the course of the game to provide hours of very challenging and satisfying puzzles. In the game, you're controlling a mailman who ends up getting stuck in a tower just trying to do his job. You're traveling up this tower, a warlock is constantly taunting you. You'll meet a variety of other characters throughout the course of the tower. You'll be stopped by a bunch of different traps, and the game is always keeping things fresh with consistently adding new elements. You're probably not going to get bored, but you may end up getting frustrated. And that's because the puzzles a lot of times are deceptive. You may think you're on the right track, get right to the end, and realize you're just one step away from actually being able to complete the puzzle, and you made a small mistake early on and have to reset things. The way that the game works is each room you're trying to get to the exit. Some doors are blocked with a key, other ones you just have to walk on through. However, you have a limited number of steps. You have a step counter in the upper corner, and every time you pick up one of the step tokens, your number is replaced with that step token number. It doesn't add on to it, it replaces it. So there's a lot of times with strategy where you're about to hit a 5, but unfortunately the only way you can go is by going through a 3, instantly negating that 5 that you picked up. This kind of idea is carried throughout the course of the entire game, while you're also getting new hazards thrown into you, whether it be hitting switches that you'll have to do in order to pull down gates, using teleporters to teleport around the room in order to make sure that you hit switches or get around enemies. And there is a variety of enemy types, whether it be zombies that move every so often, that if they're standing next to you when they're about to move, they'll end up grabbing onto you, flying enemies, and a few others that will end up trying to stop you. This game, in a lot of ways, reminded me of the classic Agerland series, or Adventure of Lolo series back on the NES. A lot of the way that the puzzles work, kind of figuring things out, or almost thinking you have it, but there's a monster enemy just that one step away that's going to prevent you from being able to complete that room, and you have to reset things. Thankfully, you're able to easily reset the room, and there is a few things to help you out. There's a checkpoint marker that you get a little bit into the game that you can put at any point, and that way, if you end up failing, if you want to experiment with something, you can try something out and then reset to that point. It's one of those things that you don't have to use if you don't want to. Another cool mechanic is sometimes you'll have multiple characters to control in a room, and you'll have to switch between them. However, the step counter is shared, so you only have 3 steps between both characters, and you have to switch between them quickly and at the right moments so that you don't end up running out of steps, but thankfully you only gotta get the one character to the exit. Each section of the tower is broken up into an A and B level, and then you'll move on to the next themed area. Things are changing, and mechanics are being added all throughout. It mostly is just changing up the aesthetic, whether it be a bit of the color scheme or some of the other things that are placed around particular rooms on that floor. As you progress, you'll gain percentage points that are tracked in the upper right corner on the level selection screen. After you hit certain percentage points, you'll actually unlock warps on the previous floors you've already done, and that'll take you to kind of a special secret area that has some really challenging levels. From the technical side of things, I'm happy to report there was no crashing or other major glitching. Warlock'S Tower is available now on the PlayStation 4 for $9.99, and it does feature a Platinum Trophy. It's also out on Vita, Nintendo Switch, Xbox One, PC, and mobile. Overall, Warlock'S Tower is one of those puzzle games that does it right. It has a simple concept, but fun and engaging puzzles that are always changing up just enough that you always feel like you're just a step or two away from getting it. Just one more try and you'll have it that next time. Those kind of feelings brought me right back to those classic puzzle games, and I'm sure this was inspired by, but also does enough to step out, I think, on its own. My only gripe really with the game is that I wish there was a few extra features, maybe a few other unlockables you could have had, maybe some sort of multiplayer mode, but mostly maybe something that could have enticed you to replay the game, maybe a time trial or something else. It's one of those games where, while it's really fun and satisfying to solve the puzzles the one time, you're probably not going to end up seeing yourself replay it. But with everything said, I still recommend Warlock'S Tower to any puzzle game fan. I'm going to be giving the game an 8 out of 10. That's going to wrap up this review though. I'd like to thank you for watching, and of course, I hope you enjoyed.